I brought you videos on my old Rebel 300, I brought you videos on my current Rebel 500, and now it's just about time that I bring you videos on the new Rebel 1100. That's right, guys, I may end up being one of the first YouTubers with the new Rebel 1100 because I've already put down a deposit to secure the bike. Today we're going to hop on the Rebel 500 and talk about my new Rebel 1100. We're going to talk about all of the features about the new bike that made me so excited to get it. We're going to talk about exactly when I plan to take delivery of the bike, and then we're going to look at the sales paper that I got when I put down the deposit and look at exactly how much I'm going to be paying out the door after tax, tag, title, all of that good stuff. I could not be more excited to share this with you guys. Let's get to it.
Perfect.
Alright guys, so first things first, let's talk about the features of the Rebel 1100 that I'm most excited about. We're obviously not going to go over all of the cool features that it has, we're just going to talk about the ones that were kind of the deciding factor in me getting the bike, and I'm sure lots of you guys are going to be interested in hearing this because lots of you have already mentioned the fact that I made a video months ago before this bike was even officially released, talking about how based off of the prototype pictures and what it was expected to be and blah 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 blah, that I was not excited about the bike.
I'm actually not that excited for the idea of a Rebel 1100, and I personally wouldn't be going out to buy one.
And obviously, now that it's released, I'm quite excited about it based off the fact that I put a deposit down within days of hearing about the bike. But anyway, so the features that I'm most excited about. The first one is obviously the wheelie control. The fact that this bike has wheelie control means A, it's a lot more technologically advanced than the Rebel 500 is, and B, it can wheelie a lot easier than the Rebel 500 can based off the fact that it even needs to have wheelie control. And I like to get a little silly on my bike sometimes, so having wheelie control and being able to do all that kind of fun stuff is definitely something that I'm excited about. Another thing that I'm super stoked about is the fact that the new 1100 has twice the horsepower of the 500 and only weighs 79 pounds more. When I made the video saying that I was not excited about the new Rebel, I was expecting it to be like a 600-pound Harley or whatever and just be an oaf of a bike and be bigger. So the fact that this bike has so much more power, is only 79 pounds heavier and only 2 inches longer than the Rebel 500. I'm just picturing like the sportiest, most fun cruiser on the face of the planet, and that's probably what this is going to be. So what else could you want out of a bike? And then not only that, but of course the price tag is worth talking about also. People were talking about it costing $11,000 or $12,000 or whatever, like before any add-ons, before any fees. And when it was released and they said it was only going to be $9,300, I was like, wheelie control, still light, twice the horsepower, and several $1,000s cheaper than people were anticipating. Sign me the heck up. So that's exactly what I did. I went to the dealer to get signed the heck up. The deposit is already down. I could not be more excited. I went to Pete's Cycle in Baltimore. Shout out Pete's Cycle. And the sales guy there, Sean, was equally as excited about the Rebel as I was, which is always awesome to see. You don't want to go into a salesman that has no idea what they're talking about. This guy was just as stoked as I was for this bike to come out, answered any questions that I had. He is the man. So if you plan on getting this bike and you're in Maryland, definitely go to Pete's Cycle in Baltimore and ask for Sean. I also went to another dealer in the area that will not be mentioned, and I went in there and they literally did not even know that the Rebel existed. Now granted, I went in there only 2 or 3 days after the bike was announced, but like, they're a dealer, they should know. And I went in there and they're like,
you mean the Rebel 500?
I'm like, no, that's what I rode here on. And they're like,
are you sure it's real?
I'm like, yeah, dude, it's on Honda's website. And they're like,
for the US market?
I'm like, yeah. And I pulled it up for them and they're like,
oh, wow. You're right. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. It would be really cool if our Honda rep told us instead of us having to find out from a customer.
And I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm just going to go back to Pete's Cycle where Sean was just as excited as I was and actually knew what was going on. So anyway, I called back up to Pete's Cycle and put the deposit down over the phone. The deposit is only $500 to hold the bike, and as far as when I can expect it, it will be here in January. So at the time of making this video, it is the 3rd of December, question mark, I think. Pretty sure it's the 3rd. Either way, it's the beginning of December. So not this month, but next month at some point I will be getting the bike. They don't have an exact arrival date yet. They just said at some point in January, and fingers crossed that production doesn't get delayed like it did with the 2020 Rebel 500, and that it will actually get here in January, because I'm gonna have to sell both of my other bikes. Is this a dead end? Yeah, it sure is. I'm gonna have to sell both of my other bikes in order to get the Rebel 1100, so it's really gonna suck if I end up selling both of my bikes fairly soon and then find out that the Rebel 1100 won't be here until March or something. That would probably make a grown man cry. Speaking of having to sell both of the other bikes, that is a good time to mention the fact that I need to figure out what I need to do with my other two bikes. By the time that I sell this and the VFR 800, I should only have to come up with an extra $2,000 to $3,000 in order to afford the 1100 outright and not have to finance it, which is the goal. But I need to figure out what to do with these bikes, because I want to sell them as soon as possible and know that I have that money ready, but I also can't be without a bike for months at a time. I mean, it's winter, so it really doesn't matter that much, but I need to keep making YouTube content, so like I need at least one bike to do that. You guys obviously like the Rebel 500 more than you like the VFR 800. That's obvious based off of the views that they get when they're each in videos. But the thing is that the Rebel is worth more than the VFR, so it would make more sense to sell it first, so that if one of the bikes doesn't sell, I have the money from the most expensive one, and I have to make up less of a difference, if that makes sense. So with that said, right now I think I'm going to end up getting rid of the Rebel 500 first, and then have the VFR 800 to be making videos on in the meantime, and then as soon as I find out the exact date that the new Rebel will be here, then I'll sell the VFR 800 to make up the rest of the money. And that way, since the VFR is worth less than the Rebel 500, if it ends up not selling in time, it'll be less of a detriment to me getting the new bike. With that said, I don't know if I want to sell the Rebel outright or if I want to raffle it off. I'm really throwing around the idea of doing a raffle for my subscribers and people in the area, where we do 100 tickets at $60 a piece, and if your name gets drawn, you get the bike, and if you're within 4 hours, I'll deliver it to you. I just feel like that would be so sick to know that somebody won this bike for only $60. Or even if you buy 2 tickets, you only spend $120 and you have a 1 in 50 chance of winning this. Like, that would be so freaking dope. But it would also be a lot more legwork than just selling it outright, I think. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments, if I raffle this bike off for $60 per ticket for 100 tickets, would you be interested? Would you buy a ticket or 2 or 3 or whatever? I think it would be super cool, but obviously we couldn't do it unless 100 slots get filled, so let me know. Alright, so we went over all of the features that I was excited about. We went over when I'm getting the bike. We went over the plans for what I'm doing with these 2 bikes in the meantime. All that's left to do is go over exactly how much I'm spending on the bike. So I'm gonna pull over somewhere. I have the exact sale paper that they gave me, showing how much the dealer fees are, tax tag, title, all that kind of stuff, exactly how much it's gonna cost out the door. So let me pull over somewhere and we'll go over that for you. Ready? And just like that, we are parked and we have the official sales paper showing exactly how much I'm paying. Leave a comment. How much do you think I'm paying out the door for the new bike? Like I said, the base price is $92.99, and this is going to include tax tag, title, all that kind of good stuff. How much do you think I'm paying? Sales tax here is 6%. Let's see if anybody can get close. Now, if you didn't already see it, here it is. So the vehicle price, $92.99. Freight is only $375. I say only because I feel like on the Honda website it said $450, but they're only charging me $375. Assembly of vehicle is $250, and then dealer processing is $199. I've never really bought anything from a dealer, so I don't know if $199 is par for the course or high or low or what. And that brings the subtotal to $10,123. Tack on the 6% tax, which is $607.38. They have an electronic registration fee of $20. I think he said that's only if I need to finance it though. And then there is a title and license fee of $224 and a lien fee of $20. Okay, never mind. So that $20 is for if I need to finance it. The other $20 is regardless, I guess. And that brings the grand total to $10,994.38. So about $1,700 between the extra fees, tag, title, tax, all that kind of good stuff. Just under $11,000 out the door on the road. So what do you think? Is that more than you were expecting? Less than you were expecting? I feel like, you know, like I said, people were anticipating this bike to be like $12,000 possibly before all that. So under 11,000 on the road is actually a lot better than I was expecting, to be honest. But either way, I am so stoked. This 500 has never let me down. I've had an absolute blast on this thing, but the fact that now an 1100 is available, I could not be more happy. That bike is going to take the place of both of the bikes that I have now, and I feel like do a better job than both of them have done combined. No offense to my babies. I love them. But I could not be more excited for this new bike. This guy's like, why the hell are you talking to yourself? Alright, so, time to get back on the road. I got my fancy little winter gloves because I'm a baby and it's 48 degrees before wind chill. And normally I wouldn't even be riding, but had to make a video. And I gotta get used to it too if I'm going to be getting a brand new bike in the middle of January. So make sure to leave a comment. Are you as excited about this bike as I am? Are you as excited as I am about the fact that I may be the first one on YouTube to get this bike? I mean, I know like all of like the videos already came out from Honda and like all of the big name, whatever, are probably going to get it first. But as far as small YouTubers, I don't even like calling myself a YouTuber, but as far as the smaller channels go, I may be the first one to get this bike. So let me know if you're as excited as I am, or if you would rather see content on the 500. I'm a little concerned because I'm not going to lie, the majority of the reason why I'm buying this bike now, as opposed to waiting like a couple years for the price to drop on used models, is because I want to get it out there for you guys, and I feel like it'll really help the channel, and it'll just be really cool going from the 300 to the 500 to the 1100. But I'd be lying if there said there wasn't a part of me that is worried about selling both of my bikes, forking out an extra $3,000, and then having the channel not do as well as I thought it would in terms of the 1100. Like, so many people are excited about it that I don't want my stuff to get drowned out, whereas with the 500, there's not really a lot of other people doing what I do with the 500. But anyway, leap of faith, I'm gonna do it. Hopefully the videos will turn out awesome, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the price, the bike, me getting it, all that kind of good stuff. As always, thanks for tuning in. I'm super stoked to see where this channel goes with the addition of this bike, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.